and I'm back to where I used to be, living out of a backpack. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Greetings from 1,000 Trails location near Dallas, Texas. No, that wasn't clickbait in the title or in my intro. I am selling my van. Tonight's actually my last night in the van, so that's bittersweet. I know it's going to upset a lot of you, but in this video I promise to go over the reasons why I'm selling my van and what my future plans are going to be. Travel plans, van life plans, all that kind of stuff, because both of those things are going to happen. But first I want to show you this beautiful campsite I'm at, so let's go. Holy cow. This is a pretty big lake. Usually when you go to 1,000 Trails, the lakes are pretty small. When they say they're on a lake, they're usually man-made, and this might be man-made, but it's, I don't know if you can see how huge this thing is, but it is massive. This is called Lake Tawakona. It's just outside of Dallas, actually about an hour outside of Dallas and about an hour from where I'm going to go and drop off the RV. But I mean, just look at this place. It's really cool. Check out where I'm camped. So over here, I was originally going to be camped right there actually, but I didn't want to be between those two RVs. So I went ahead and moved to another spot. It's a pretty cool little spot. A great way to spend my last night in my van. I think we're gonna go over there and watch the sunset here real quick. If you're enjoying this video, please hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment below telling me where you're watching from. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. In about an hour, I'm taking the rig over to National RV Center. I'm signing it over to them and they're gonna sell it for me. I chose to do it that way because I really didn't want to deal with the admin paperwork, and they have a pretty good program for that. So that's what I'm gonna do, driving it over there and selling it. But now for what all of you really want to know, why am I selling the van? What's gonna happen now? Van life, travel, all that stuff. So let's jump into that. So I love this van. As you can see by that montage, it's taking me to so many awesome places, but there's one Achilles heel to this van that I just cannot change, and it's limiting. That one thing is this van is not 4x4. It's not all-wheel drive. I cannot take it off-road without worrying about getting stuck. I've been stuck a bunch in this rig, although I've always been able to get out, except for once I had to call a tow truck to pull me out. But I want to be able to go deeper and further into national forests and into the desert, into places where I'm likely to get stuck if I only have front wheel drive, and it might be difficult to get out. If there was an aftermarket kit for this van that I could turn it into a 4x4, I would have already done it. You guys know I put the lift kit on here to give myself more clearance. If there was a 4x4 kit, I would be keeping this van right now, but there isn't. So it's time to move on and find a 4x4 for my van life adventures. The second reason, and I know this is gonna sound crazy to a lot of you, but I think the van is just too big. It's too big for me. I want something smaller, 19 feet or under, and maybe even way smaller, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I've cleared out the van. I've got all my stuff cleared out, and I just have so much space in this thing. You know, you got all these cabinets, all of this space underneath here, all the space behind that you can't see, all the space in the rear of the vehicle. It's just too much for me. When I was cleaning out the van to prepare to go into the Storyteller, I couldn't believe how much stuff I had accumulated. I'm a minimalist, but I guess if I have somewhere to put stuff, I'll buy stuff. So those are the two reasons. No 4x4, and I think it's too big. I know a lot of you would have probably guessed shower, but honestly, that's just a minor inconvenience, and it's something I could have probably fixed at some point. But those two big reasons I gave you, I can't change those. All right, so I know your next question is, does that mean van life is over for you? No, van life is not over for me. On the 1st of April, I am picking up a Storyteller and I'm taking it out for 30 days. After I take the Storyteller out, then I'm going to figure out how I want to do van life, but I'm definitely going to do it in some form, and it's going to be one of two ways. It's either going to be in a rig like a Storyteller or a Revel, something smaller, something with 4x4, probably on a Sprinter chassis, or I'm going to get something smaller like a Honda Element, maybe a Subaru, and try to turn it into a little micro camper, which means it would be my build. I'd probably get some people to help me, but it's going to be one of those two ways. I'm either going to be in something like a Storyteller or a Revel, or I'm going to be in something really small like a Honda Element. All right, so let me tell you about the next few months of travel for me. So from the 1st to the 30th, like I mentioned, I'm picking up a Storyteller. I'm going to take that over to Southern Utah. We're going to have a blast. We're going to explore everything Southern Utah has to offer. Maybe we'll sneak on up to Idaho and Montana. We'll see how much time we have. After I drop the Storyteller off in Alabama, I'm going to hop on a plane. Where do you think I'm going? I'll give you a couple seconds to write it down below in the comments. Let's see if you guessed right. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going there for 2 months. We're going to live in a van part of the time. We're going to live in an Airbnb part of the time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to explore the island. I'm going to take you on some of my favorite hikes. And then we're going to come back to the US. And hopefully by then, I either have something like a Storyteller or a Revel standing by for me, or I buy an Element or a Subaru and we go build that thing out. So one of those two things is going to happen. Which one would you prefer? Me to be in a Storyteller or a Revel, or for me to build out a little micro camper? Make sure you put your answer down below. Let's take one last look at my baby. As much as I complain about the flaws of this Travato, it served me really well and took me to some amazing places and facilitated some awesome experiences. I don't regret buying this rig one bit. At a minimum, it helped me figure out exactly what I need in a rig. So let me run in here and do some paperwork and hand over the keys. Alright, so I just finished up with National RV here, and it was a really good experience, and I'm back to where I used to be, living out of a backpack. But next week, I'll be in a Storyteller, so see you next week. I'm a little sad. There's my van. It'll be gone soon. But yeah, on to the next adventure.
This was for the broken heart, the lame, the weak, too afraid to start, the dreams that only came to pass them by. Here's to the broken man who stood and watched when he heard you can't, 'cause it shows me that faith is more than sight. Looking for a star to guide, pushing through the darkness of the night. Hold your head.